If we're not willing to struggle for our own dignity, then we don't deserve freedom. Serving the nation is not a sacrifice, but a privilege. Do you want the next 50 years to be like the last 50 years? There was an elderly person planting some acorns, and a man passing by stopped and asked him, "Look at your age. Do you think you will live long enough to see the oak tree?" And the man replied, "All these trees that have given me shades and fruits, did I plant all of them? There are people coming behind me too. Aren't we custodians of the next generation?" Character building does not start when a child is born. It starts 100 years before a child is born. Our youth does not form 100% population of the country, but they do form 100% future of the country, don't they? Helen Keller was once asked, "What is worse than having no eyesight?" And she said, "Having eyesight with no vision is worse." Today's problems are the results of yesterday's short-sighted solutions. Many times we hear people saying, "We are a young democracy. We need time to grow up." These are growing pains. The sad part is, these are pains for not growing up. If we catch cancer during childhood, we will never see adulthood. There are some people who'd rather be ruined by false praise than be helped by constructive criticism. So long as criticism is painful to the giver, they have a right to give constructive criticism. But the moment criticism becomes a pleasure to the giver, they have no more right to criticize. Did you know that a third of our population is below poverty line? Approximately 70% of Indians have no access to sanitation. My book has been pirated. One of the press reporters asked me, "How do you feel?" I said, "Wonderful." And he asked me, "You're losing royalty." I said, "Of course I am." I pulled out an article which said, in India there are 4,000 crores worth of pirated drugs sold every year. I'm losing royalty, but people who are taking pirated drugs are losing their lives. And nowhere on the package does it say, don't sell it to a police officer, a lawyer, a judge, or a politician, or the kids. They'd have it and they'd be dead as anybody else. You might call it accident. I would call it murder. The objective of Country First is to ensure good governance through good people and good laws. Its vision is to bring respect and dignity for every Indian. Well, that's his birthright. Its mission is to bring freedom through education and justice. Well, what is freedom? It is when an honest individual can pursue a legal avenue and bring peace, prosperity, and happiness to himself, his family, and society. Do we have it? What is education? Educated people can tell the difference between right and wrong. Educated people are easy to lead, but they're hard to enslave. In a democracy where quantity of votes matter more than quality, the more enlightened citizens are, the better choices they will make. What is justice? Justice is truth in action. People want justice, not charity. Poverty does not create as much crime as crime creates poverty. And it is cruelty to the innocent when the guilty go unpunished. Lack of justice makes people lose respect for the law. Unjust nations invite their own pain, and freedom cannot prevail in a corrupt society. In a corrupt society, one has to do illegal things in order to do legal things. 73% of jail inmates are waiting for trial for years. Some of them may be innocent. You could be there and I could be there. And if you and I were there, would we expect somebody to stand up for us? And if we would, then why don't we stand up for them? A nation does not become great by shouting slogans. It becomes great when citizens do great things. And if justice is worth having, it is worth fighting for. When the protector becomes the predator, what does a common citizen do? What choice does he have? We must distinguish between partners in crime and victims of crime. I apply for a license and I bribe someone and deprive a more deserving person. What did I become? A partner, and this person became a victim. Now this is just a license. Let us talk of a life and death situation. Supposing you pick up someone who's bleeding on the street and you take him to the hospital, and the way things work or they don't work, there are 100 people bleeding, crying, nobody cares. But if you bribe somebody, they take him on right away. Your principle says you will not bribe. Question is, would you let him bleed to death or would you bribe? I would bribe anytime. Legally, I just became a criminal. I just broke the law. But ethically, I just saved a life, didn't I? Am I a partner in crime or am I a victim of crime? I feel very strongly that 99.9% of India is not partners in crime. They're honest. They have become victims of crime. Those days are gone when corruption used to be speed money. Today it is extortion. Unless you pay me, I will make life hell for you. When people in positions of power oppress the innocent, that is called organized crime. Peaceful protest against injustice is the democratic right of every citizen. If you look at Gandhi's life, he broke every British law. And anybody who breaks a law commits a crime. He said, you make it and I'll break it. then Gandhi was the biggest criminal. Gandhi said one thing: beyond the law of land, there is a law of humanity which is way, way above the law of land. Mahatma Gandhi, in an address in Madras 1920, said, "Cooperation is the duty only as long as the government protects our honor. Non-cooperation is an equal duty when the government, instead of protecting, robs us of our honor." Samuel Johnson once said, "Patriotism is the last refuge of scoundrels." Well, he was right. If scoundrels wear the cloak of patriotism, well then, there is nothing but hypocrisy. For every 1,000 scoundrels, there is one patriot like the Gandhi and the Mandela and Lee Kuan Yew. Question is, why don't people take a stand? Because it is inconvenient. So long as citizens prefer convenience to conviction, that country always goes downhill. People are suffering today not because they are helpless, but they don't want to fight their own battles for their own integrity. They want the neighbors to fight for them. Opportunists say, "Whatever little bit I can do, I shall do." That is no commitment, only lip service. There is a world of a difference between preferences and convictions in life. Preferences are negotiable, convictions are not. And under pressure, preferences always become weak, whereas convictions become stronger always. Whereas concerned citizens always say, "Whatever the nation takes to do, that's what I will do." There is another breed of seasonal patriots who talk of nation above self, but in practice they put self above nation. To the seasonal patriots, patriotism is a matter of convenience. Weak people can never be sincere, and cowards can never practice morality. Peace has its own victories, but it takes brave men to achieve them. If every soldier said, "I have a family, I have other obligations, I'm only one person," would we have freedom? Are those orphans who sacrifice for the nation? A soldier said, "When you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrows, we gave our today." Isn't it interesting that for selfish reasons, a traitor has no limits? They can go to any extent. Well, look at the other side, that a patriot or a soldier for the nation also has no limit, can go to any extent. It may sound like wishful thinking, but I wish there was a law where traitors were not allowed to touch the national flag and disgrace it. And I wish a traitor's blood ought not ever to be given to a soldier or a patriot. There are three things that are hurting our society. One, jealousy. Jealousy says people are not fed up with their own problems. Their own problems don't bother them as much as other people's successes bother them, which means people don't want to lift themselves up, but they want to pull others down. People who are jealous in nature, they stab you in the back and they come and sympathize in front of you. The second is fatalistic attitude. People say, whatever is written in my stars, my horoscope has to happen. There is nothing I can do. I am totally helpless. History shows very clearly, anybody who has to do anything in life, they do it in spite of problems, not in absence of. And people who don't have to do it, you give them everything in life, they will still not do it. The third is the indifferent behavior, where people say, so long as it's not happening to me, who cares? All three behavior patterns come from an inferiority complex. Folks, many times you hear anger is a weakness. And if you go through history, no change ever took place till somebody got angry. When the Britishers threw Mahatma Gandhi out of the compartment and he was lying on the platform, he got so angry that day. He said, you threw me out of this compartment, watch, I'll throw you out of this country. What did he do? He converted his anger into a resolution. His greatest weakness in life became his greatest strength. And folks, isn't it time that every concerned citizen got angry against injustice and corruption today? It's never the activity of rascals that destroys a society, but always the inactivity of the good people that does it. What a paradox! If they were really good, would they be inactive? And if injustice is happening to your neighbor and you can sleep, wait for your turn, you are next. Many times we hear people saying, I want to stay away from politics because politics is a dirty game. Well, my answer is, there is no dirty game, there are only dirty players, that's all. The air we breathe is the result of politics. The water we drink is the result of politics. The medicine we eat is the result of politics. The education our kids get is the result of politics. By not getting involved, you are already involved. All forms of philanthropy are worthy of respect. While many philanthropic organizations provide free ambulance services to heart attack victims, but what about those who are giving heart attacks to others? Organizations set blood donation camps. What about bloodsuckers? If we want to see a better India, we need to do three things. Every citizen must become a soldier for the nation. A soldier not only sacrifices for the nation, but also is willing to stop those who destroy the nation. If an honest citizen goes to jail unjustifiably, the whole nation should be ready to go to jail. And three, we must eradicate this nation of the corrupt breed of traitors who are ready to sell the country for personal gain. Freedom is not free. Every generation needs to earn its own freedom. A nation that forgets its freedom fighters ends up losing its own freedom. This country has never been destroyed by outside enemies, but always has been destroyed by traitors from inside. Power does not corrupt. Power only corrupts those who are corruptible to begin with. Success does not bring arrogance or humility, it only brings to surface whatever was hiding before. Folks, people who count on positions for power or titles for power, you take away the title and the power goes away. Well, of course, titles give power. IAS, IPS, MD, CEO, minister. Positions and titles give authority. And authority gives power, but behavior gives respect. Very crucial. The Indian consulate in Houston has issued 500 fake passports by taking bribes. We talk of terrorism, but the biggest question is, who is the terrorist, the one who got the passport or one who issued the passport? We talk of investments within India. Dr. Pierre Hague, Swiss Deputy Minister, made a statement that Indians have approximately 2,500 billion US dollars in Swiss accounts. Even if there's a typing error, it's a lot of money. Britishers did not do this to us in 200 years. What our rascals have done in 50. Country First Action Plan shall be achieved through public interest litigation and public support to enforce justice. Did you know that 700 of approximately 4,000 legislators have criminal records? A nation suffers when those who have never learned to obey are given the right to command. Those who we would not appoint as guardians of our children, why do we appoint them as guardians of the nation? There are 40 million cases pending in the Indian courts, but out of them, approximately only less than 15,000 cases are corruption cases. Corruption cases must be tried on a day-to-day basis on a priority. Just like the Arthur Andersen case was tried in the United States, it will cure the system. We need a witness protection plan. Why do witnesses turn hostile? Because today, money and muscles plays a very important role, which is reflected in the low conviction rate of approximately 5%. Hence, a witness protection plan becomes imperative to stop witnesses from turning hostile. Such programs are already operational in many countries. Why not in India? If your mother had cancer, would you let her die? Well, our motherland has cancer of corruption. What are we waiting for? Country First short-term objectives are to bring awareness of social responsibility and gain support for the three causes Country First stands for. The three causes or solutions are: 1. Right to elect must be accompanied with right to reject. And 2. Witness protection plan must be put in place in order to bring criminals to justice. And 3. Corruption cases must be tried on a day-to-day basis in order to clean up the system. Country First long-term objectives are to get these three issues passed as laws and implemented so that citizens can live with respect and dignity. Think Indian, stop thinking regional. Be prepared for struggle and hardship. Freedom is never given away, it is always taken. Well, take a stand. Stop sitting on the fence. Support one principal leader or a party and stop playing one against the other. Attach pride and dignity to the tag Made in India. You can take this video and spread the message of social responsibility by showing it in your community, schools, colleges, offices, factories, organizations like the Rotaries, the Lions, Junior Chamber, Round Table, Chamber of Commerce's, associations, anywhere that we can. There is a cost of standing up on our feet, and there is also a cost of living on our knees. You decide. Each one of us, by virtue of being born here, took an unwritten oath to uphold the integrity of the nation. The question is, are we upholding? If you want to wait for 200 years, good luck. I'm not willing to do that. Either the country changes or I change, and I'm not ready to change anymore. The country has to change.
अगर देश वाली बात है तो सब हम सबसे आगे हैं।
मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम।
I'm willing to die for my country.
मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम।
पूरे दुनिया के अंदर हमारे मुल्क का नाम होगा।
वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम।
If you want to live with respect, then learn to fight for justice.
वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे
मैं अकेला देश के लिए खड़ा हूँ।
मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम।
I like to stay in India.
और आगे बढ़ेगा।
सुजलाम सुफलाम मलयज शीतलाम शस्य श्यामलाम मातरम वंदे।
I would love to change for my country.
हम ये शपथ लेते हैं कि देश के लिए लड़ेंगे और देश के लिए मरेंगे।
Yes, I'm proud to be an Indian.
देश के लिए जान भी हाजिर है।
वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम।
हम अपने शहीदों का खून बर्बाद नहीं होने देंगे।
This is my country. I am responsible to my country and I owe it to my country.
अगर हम बदल जाएंगे तो देश अपने आप बदल जाएगा।
वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम।
मैं देश के लिए जरूर खड़ा हूँगा।
I'll stand alone for my country. Well, I'm proud to be an Indian and I love to stay. It's a beautiful country.
देश का भविष्य काफी उज्जवल है।
But if somebody is there to lead the country for a change, I'll definitely support him and will also help generate support for that person.
If my country lives, my mother will live.
We will celebrate another freedom where citizens can live with respect and dignity.
पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे